Okay, great. So I think we're just going to kick off with some brief introductions, and I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. It's probably easier.
Hi everyone, I'm Kuantai with Qiming Venture. I've been doing venture capital for about 14 years. Qiming is considered a large fund in China within the venture world. We manage about $4 billion US. Our latest two, currently managing two funds that's about $1.2 billion. We invest in internet, IT, and healthcare. I personally focus on the IT side, so I do AI, big data, SaaS, semiconductors, robotics, and all the more technology-driven sectors. Look forward to talking to all of you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mansoor Madhavji, and I'm a partner on Blockchain Founders Fund. So it's a fund that primarily invests in blockchain startups. The team is based out of Beijing. My role primarily is to deal with our North America portfolio, so you will usually find me somewhere in the US or Canada. I think that's it.
My name is Peter Cheng. I'm the managing partner with Eminence Ventures. We are a relatively new fund that is focused on enterprise cloud. So we do enterprise software investment primarily in China. So have been about 2 years. Right now we have about 8 or 9 companies in our portfolio. As some of you probably know, this year suddenly B2B sector become very hot. But 2-3 years ago when we decided to focus on this sector, we were very lonely. But thankfully now it's a very hot sector, and we have been the only one in China that have been focusing on enterprise cloud.
So I think we're just going to keep this really simple. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on recent trends that you're seeing. So China moves very fast, Asia moves very fast, and investment is changing quite rapidly. Great to hear, because you're all in different sectors. What are the trends that you've seen in the last 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 weeks, couple months? And what do you think the outlook is for at least the first quarter of next year going? What do you see in the future?
Thanks. In terms of new trends that we're kind of looking into these days is two. One is a continuation of investments in AI, but in terms of the technologies, we're looking at more extending AI into real life environments such as retail, such as human resources, such as basically trying to enhance efficiency and user experience with AI. And that type of investments we have continued to do. And also some exploratory things like space. We're starting to look into space now, but we haven't quite decided whether to advance into the commercial space exploration or satellite launching, that kind of business yet. But that seems to be more in the horizon as well. And actually, something that Peter mentioned in terms of what he is doing, we are also has been actively doing investments in a B2B enterprise software space for the last 4 years. And so we have been, for the last 4 years, sort of about 4 years ago, we started to look at more infrastructure software. But instead of 2 years ago, we started to look more at these sort of SaaS for small and medium enterprises. And we have been very happy to find that more recently this year, medium enterprises has been more willing to pay for the SaaS experience, and the companies are starting to get more revenue and actually getting more traction. I think primarily it's because so-called these new SaaS companies are also combining the data as well as it's the cloud-based and some of the AI algorithms to add more value. One example is I recently, last week, invested in a SaaS company that does human resource management for restaurant chains. And they are seeing once they use this kind of software, the restaurants can save money on the employee hours by more than 10%, which is actually quite a lot, more than pays for the SaaS company itself. Thanks. I'll just share this much.
You get a round of applause every time you speak. So you touched on something that I deeply agree with around making the user experience of AI more user-friendly. I think this kind of a trend that we'll see across the board. I mean, we primarily deal with blockchain, and one of the big flaws that I've seen in this industry is everyone kind of puts blockchain front and center and wonders about why there's no adoption. And at the end of the day, like, that's not solving a need for any of their customers. It's what's the benefit to the end user. And for us, like, we have a big focus on enterprise as well, like these two gentlemen. For us, we really think that there are a use case for blockchain within the enterprise world, and it's just finding, you know, that fabric where enterprises can understand how it relates to their business and where they can use it. So I think as we go forward into next year, we'll start seeing more and more stronger teams building out these kind of solutions with blockchain. And we'll start seeing more credible teams and more use cases and integration into real world applications.
What I have seen is opportunity lying in the traditional industries. By leveraging blockchain or AI or some of the mobile internet technologies, we have seen still quite a few disruptors coming into the traditional industry trying to disrupt. And we also have seen a lot of enablers, the entrepreneurs who want to enable the incumbent so that they don't get disrupted. So we see a lot of opportunities in traditional industries, either it's in wholesale, retail, transportation, you name it. I think the beauty of China is it has the scale. So we recently invested in a company that focuses on the cargo container transportation industry. It's very niche, but imagine China is the largest exporting country and also one of the largest importing country. All the goods have to be shipped via the containers. And then if you do that well, but in that industry, you can see disruptors coming in. You can also see a lot of enablers wanting to enable the incumbent to defend the disruptor. So we see a lot of opportunities in traditional industries by leveraging AI, blockchain, etc., to better the industry.
So just last question, and you already, Kuantai, you answered it. But if you could just give an example of the last deal you did, or second to last deal that you did. What's the problem they're solving? Why are they why are they going to be the best at solving it? And why did you invest?
Thank you. Actually, the last deal I did was last week, was actually that SaaS company I mentioned, which solves the human resource problem for restaurants. So I don't think I will get into that further. I'll talk about the second last company I invested this year. This company is called Zego. What Zego is a PaaS company. It provides a real-time interactive audio video sort of sharing platform to apps. And generally what it's trying to do is that if you have if you have like one party, two party, talking to each other, that's very easy. You also have nowadays with streaming technology, you can have tens of thousands of everybody watching something simultaneously. That's also very easy. But if you can have more than 10 guys all talking from 10 locations on the 10 phones, all talking at the same time, and have that video quality and audio quality be very, very, with very short delays and very good precision, that's very difficult. So the company is trying to solve that, and the applications are in the, in China, there's all these video performance type of sort of live video type of arrangements. And this company supplies this technology to all the top live video companies. And also in online education, you can imagine more and more education to me will take place offline. And then nowadays, there's a lot of new ideas, such as teaching, piano or teaching English online. But generally, only two parties can talk at the same time. So this company can enable 10 kids, 20 kids all talking at the same time. So I think that's the future. So, and then you can think of other endless amount of applications, as long as things that's real time will take place, replacing meeting face to face. So I really like this technology. That's my second company.
So for us, man, I don't know how to pick just one. There's so many projects in our portfolio that we're very excited about. But I'll tell you right now about a company we invested in called TallowFlow, and they're essentially using an AI to automate smart contract creation. And their go-to-market strategy and what they're starting with to launch is using their AI to actually optimize resources on servers. So when you're with AWS, for example, cutting down costs. But the key thing in terms of that was getting the right people on board and engaged with their brand. And so we really liked that they were well thought out. The CEO had previous experience with a successful exit. So all signs were very strong on that team and experience and credibility. And so we're very excited about that one.
Let me add some more colors to the company I just mentioned in my portfolio in the cargo container transportation business. In the harbor of Shanghai surrounding area, there are about 4,500 fleet companies, small bosses. They may own 5 or 10 trucks, and they employ 5 to 10 drivers, and 4,500 of them. And all the manufacturers, they work with forwarders to get their product into the container and eventually ship to Bangkok or Los Angeles. 4,500 fleets, and all of them are mostly very small because it's a tough business. Right now, it's approaching Christmas, so most of the drivers are not busy. So a lot of small business owners, they cannot afford to pay the drivers during this period. So it's not an easy business. With the integrated platform, like the one we invested, they got all the drivers onto the single platform, just like Uber and Didi. And they know where the container is. And they can do matching very easily because container transportation is very standard, but it's also tricky. When you need to ship product overseas, you need to get a bill from the shipping company, and then you go to the port and pick up an empty container, and then you go 300 kilometers out to pick up the goods, put it into the container. Then you go to the port right before the ship is about to leave. Cannot be too early, cannot be late. So a lot of problems can only be handled via computer, via internet, via mobile. So that's the company that want to come in and disrupt the industries. Shanghai alone, 4,500. Not to mention, there are tens of hundreds of fleets across the country, in Ningbo, in Tianjin, in Guangzhou, in Shenzhen. So tremendous opportunity.
Well, let's give them a great round of applause. Really appreciate you sharing. We couldn't do early stage without later stage investors to come in and fund our companies. So with that, we're going to get the Demo Day 14 started. So thank you very much.